to speak on two issues today. They will happen soon. First, about 2 weeks ago, we will herald in the National Day celebration on the 1st of October. And then the second thing is tomorrow I'll be delivering my fourth policy address. First of all, on the National Day, in 2 weeks' time, it will be the 76th anniversary of National Day. It is an important day, so the government, together with various sectors, have put together a series of celebration activities and special discounts that covers cultural events, entertainment, leisure and recreation exhibitions, and there will be discounts on transport, spending, food and beverage, and so on. So we keenly look forward to the National Day celebrations. We hope that local residents and visitors will celebrate the National Days together with some warm ambience. Now, on the day of the National Day, there will be the flag raising ceremony and the reception. In the evening, there will be a large fireworks display over the Victoria Harbour. The theme is Victoria Harbour fireworks shine across the motherland. There will be 30,000 fireworks to be that will shine Hong Kong. And then on the 2nd of October, there will be the cultural performance to celebrate the National Day. At various TV stations will live broadcast the event. And on transportation, various public transport operators will offer discounts, so we could all go out and celebrate the National Day together. And then on the 1st of October, there'll be free tram ride, ferry rides. That's for the Central to Tsim Sha Tsui route, and then the North Point to Hong Kong route, as well as the North Point to Kowloon City route. There'll be 2,000 free ferry ride vouchers, and people can then take free rides from Central to Hong Kong and from North Point to Kai Tak. And then children can take free rides on Kowloon Bus, Longwind, and New Lantau bus companies on various designated routes. And then on the 1st of October, the MTRCL will have a lucky draw to give out 76,000 free e-tickets. And then there will be one free ride for local stations or going to Lo and so on. And then on entertainment and cultural events, the government and various organizations will offer various discounts. On the 1st of October, the government will treat you all to a half price cinema screenings, or on all cinemas will offer half price tickets on the day. And various other places will offer discounts on food and beverage and free parking. The government will announce all the various details at a themed website later today. I thank the various sectors for their enthusiastic support. I hope more will join us and offer various discounts so that we could all celebrate the National Day together. Tomorrow, I will be delivering my fourth policy address. The color is again green this year because green represents vibrancy, continuity, and also that the vitality of Hong Kong as well as government policies will continue so that we could all look forward to a brighter tomorrow. The theme is this year is to deepen reform, taking care of people's livelihood, and then we could leverage on our advantage and build a better future. We will still focus on the economy and people's livelihood because that's been my philosophy over the years. That is, we need to develop the economy and improve people's livelihood. We've held over 40 consultation sessions. We met with different people in the community, and we've collected views from various channels. We've received over 12,000 submissions, and I thank everyone who's given their views to us. That includes both individuals and organizations. Tomorrow, after the delivery of the policy address, I and my team will reach out to different media or organizations to explain our policies. I hope you will support the policy address. There are near-term, medium-term, and long-term initiatives in the policy address. The government will give full play to the philosophy of the policy address. That is, we'll deepen reform, we care for people's livelihood, we'll leverage on our advantage, and then together we build a better future. Thank you. The chief executive will now come forward so you can take photos of him with the policy address. Please look straight ahead. Please look to the right. Please look to the left. To the right again. And please look straight forward again. So last few photos.
OK， 差唔多啦，好似唔該晒。
I think that's about it.
好。 好啦，影埋右邊差唔多啦，唔該晒。
After the reporters on the right are done, we'll begin the Q&A session. Thank you.
All
right, thank you. We'll now open the floor for questions. Those who would like to ask questions, please raise your hands. After we've called your names, please identify the organization you represent and please ask no more than 2 questions. The lady in the middle. I'm from Now TV. On the registration of same-sex partnerships bill, it is the first bill that is voted down in this legislative session. Do you think it has any impact on the relationship between the legislature and the executive branches? And do you think it will affect the ruling of the CFA? Will you ask the central government to interpret the law? Also, on the dam in Sai Kung, did you not have enough consultation on the local stakeholders on the Golden Week that's coming up? Will you have a prohibition order on the traffic in the dam in Sai Kung to enhance the experience of travelers? First, on the registration of same-sex partnerships bill, we introduced the bill to LegCo and it was scrutinized in the council. And that was to reflect the responsibilities of the legislature, the executive branch, and the judiciary under the Basic Law. First, the judiciary, based on the relevant legal principles, handed down the ruling without any interference. The executive authorities, that is the government, respect the spirit of rule of law and the relevant legal principles. And based on the instructions of the court, we introduced the bill in hopes that we could fulfill the order passed down by the court, and that is to respect the spirit of the rule of law. And the executive branch plays the function of introducing bills to LegCo. LegCo has the right to scrutinize government bills, and it also has the right to vote against or in favor of the bills. The scrutiny of the registration of same-sex partnerships bill shows that under the Basic Law, the legislature, the executive branch, as well as the judiciary played their respective roles. This shows that we, in our own roles, have given our best efforts. So this is a positive thing. While the government bill was voted down, we will continue to study how we could, based on the instruction of the court, continue to protect the rights that should be enjoyed by same-sex partners. And these rights cover areas in medical-related matters, as well as post-death arrangements of same-sex partners. The Constitutional and Mainland Affairs Bureau will see how we can, through administrative measures, implement certain measures based on the actual circumstances to protect rights that should be enjoyed by same-sex couples. Also, the executive branch as well as the legislature, under the Basic Law, have played their respective roles and completed their work. We all should understand that the legislature and the executive authorities should have understanding for each other as they perform their roles under the Basic Law. In this regard, the executive branch as well as the legislature have had very good communication. And while we perform our own respective roles, the decision that is generated, we respect them. Over the past few years, the legislature and executive authorities have had very good interaction and communication. We have had the interactive section. We also had the CE Q&A session at the Legislative Council. The different government bureaus have had very good communication with Legislative Council members. So we see there's been improvement in this regard. In relation to the traffic condition at the East Dam, High Island Reservoir East Dam, especially during long weekends and holidays. Well, we know that the East Dam is a very attractive tourist destination. While we want to promote tourism development as well as conservation and to ensure the daily lives of local residents are not greatly affected, the government has already implemented certain measures. While we implement these measures, we have different considerations. We try to learn about what we need to improve on. And we are willing to listen to views, and we handle the matters based on the actual circumstances. Over the past weekend, in terms of crowd management, traffic management, and information dissemination, we have made improvements. As to whether there is further room for improvement, of course, we can always do better. So we hope that during the long weekend, especially during the Golden Week, we will, based on the actual circumstances, decide what to do in the long run. The East Dam is a long-term attraction, so we want to come up with long-term solutions. All the suggestions we get are great suggestions, and they help the government handle the matter. So we will take these suggestions very seriously. We'll also look at when we see greater crowds at the East Dam, and we will strengthen our effort on those days and deploy more manpower. Also, we have to disseminate more information so that those who would like to visit the East Dam can choose to go there when it's less busy, so that we can divert crowds. In this regard, we will, based on the actual circumstances, handle the matter. Second question.
記者中間講。
The reporter on the right.
SCMP, just regarding your previous answer on the same-sex partnership bill, will you consider introducing new legislation to LegCo within this term to fulfill the court's ruling, or are you giving up on that since LegCo voted down the previous bill? Do you fear that this could lead to more judicial rulings in the future? And also, have you taken up any follow-up action with Stanley Ng, who was the only member of EXCO not to vote on the legislation? My second question has to do with the Hong Kong International School situation. Do you have any comment on the row between the international school and the U.S. church? And what are you doing to ensure it doesn't affect the lives of international students and the wider business community? Thank you.
In regard to the same-sex partnership bill that the government introduced, this action is in full fulfillment of the rule of law. Under the basic law, the judiciary, the administration, and also legislative council have respectively their functions and duties. Courts make judgments based on facts, based on legal principles, free from interference. Administration respects and practices the rule of law, and therefore, when the court makes a declaration about some requirements, then the government exercises its duties and functions to propose legislation so as to implement the legal decision. The Legislative Council, under the Basic Law, has the duty to scrutinize bills proposed by the government, vote to support or not support the bill. So in this exercise, I think all the three functions are fulfilled very properly. In other words, courts exercises judicial function independently, free from interference according to legal principles. Administration proposes legislation to fulfill the legal obligation to respect and practice the rule of law. Legislative councillors, they scrutinize the bill, vote to support or not to support the bill. So this exercise reflects all three bodies dutifully fulfill their functions under the Basic Law. In fact, there have been some very unfair criticism about the government, about the Legislative Council, that they is a rubber stamp. That is a very unfair accusation, and the fact that they have exercised their duties and vote to represent their own thinking and the views from their constituencies reflect that LegCo members are dutifully fulfilling their duties. Same-sex partnership is a contentious issue in Hong Kong, and that is why there have been a lot of views expressed both in society and in LegCo. But one thing is very clear, the only marriage that is recognized under the Basic Law is heterosexual, man and female, and one-to-one. That principle hasn't changed and will not be changed. We will, of course, examine how we can offer protection to the same-sex partners so that their rights will be protected. A lot of these relates to healthcare and also to estate properties. We will examine how we can do that administratively. Regarding one member of EXCO being absent, he has been in communication with me. LegCo matters, I'm not going to disclose in public. In regard to the dispute involving an international school, this is now a sub judice matter, so I won't go into details, but the government position is very clear. The standard of education cannot be affected. Students' rights cannot be affected. These two principles are most important and have been duly related to the parties concerned. The relevant parties take heed to these important principles. Education Bureau will monitor this very closely, and will repeat that quality of education and students' interests must be safeguarded. One other thing they should do is to ensure that the parents and the students should be informed regularly of the development.
好，仲有一度提問。右手邊藍色衫個男嘅。
The gentleman in green to the right. Good morning. I'm from Hong Kong 01. Now, in Tianyan Estate, there's a mother and son with some mental illnesses, and their public housing unit was taken back, and then they committed suicide. So would you consider improving the mechanism so you would take into consideration compassionate factors? And then second question is on the hot air balloon festival at the Central Harbourfront event space. Many people bought tickets, but then the organizer did not deliver. So would you consider issuing a guideline, for example, prohibiting event organizers from making publicity before they get approval and so on? Now, at Tenyan Estate, there are 2 members of the public who lost their lives. Of course, I'm really sad about it. I've actually considered this issue. First, policy and execution of policy. Now, if there are public housing tenants who breach the rules, so in terms of policy, shall we take back the units? And secondly, when we execute the policy, is there any room for improvement? Now, we've been taking action against public housing tenants who breach the rules, and we've taken back 9,300 units. And let's say each unit is a 3 to 4 person household. That means there are about 30,000 persons have benefited from us taking back these 9,300 units. And if we don't take any actions, that means these 30,000 persons have to wait longer for a unit. Then, on the execution policy, is there room for improvement? I believe we can always do better. So there's always room for improvement. And some suggestions have been made. That is, at the appeal board, we should include healthcare personnel, especially those who can consider cases involving people with mental illnesses, and we could seek medical advice at the board. And then, in terms of the system, how can we take care of be more humane? How can we put people first and consider different circumstances other than the facts? And so I've asked the housing department to do that. Second question, sorry, can you repeat that? Your second question. Hot air balloon in Central Harbourfront. Yes, about the hot air balloon festival. I think the government plays a role on 3 fronts. That's what I've been thinking about. First, with hot air balloon, the government plays a regulatory role. We also have the role of promotion, and then we also are the owner of the venue. So we hire out the venue. Now, usually, for activities with low risk and little technical requirements, of course, promotion is important. And for hot air balloons, well, I believe they're very popular among the public. So we could promote activities like that. It will bring, more different activities to Hong Kong. But then, of course, with different activities, there are different technical requirements and different levels of risk. That's why we must be stringent when it comes to supervision and regulation. Well, actually, there were hot air balloon activities at the Ocean Park. There were accidents and people were injured. So that's why safety must come first when it comes to supervision and regulation. And on the dissemination of information, the event organizer and the regulator could both consider how we could disseminate information in a more timely and transparent manner. And of course, with launching any activities, there is need for promotion. But then maybe at a certain point, the regulator believes that certain standards have not been met. Then perhaps the regulator should also disseminate information. But now we need to strike a balance, of course. Now, there are stringent standards when it comes to safety, of course. And if these standards could be met, then the activity could go ahead. But then in the past, we've seen accidents, say, at the Ocean Park. And at that certain time, we have to consider the weather, the wind direction, and so on. And so the regulator needs to consider that, and the regulator could issue, could disseminate information, and then the event organizer could also disseminate information, and then public could decide if they want to take part. And now the government is also the venue owner. We we leases out the venue. Now for the Central Harbour Front event space, we have rented out the space to a party that manages and leases and rents out the venue. So there is something like venue manager, and so perhaps we need to consider better, more stringent requirements for the venue manager, so that the venue will be properly managed. So in the new lease, we'll certainly add more terms, and the new lease actually will be signed very soon in the middle of next year. So the Revenue Bureau and Department will consider all these three aspects to see how we could further improve the arrangements. So in future, we can better manage various mega events in terms of the policy and the arranged system. Thank you. That's the end of the media sessions. Meet the media sessions. Good. Thank you.